Part 5: The Memory of the Forest. The forest remembers even when the trees are gone. What if the most powerful thing in a forest is not the tree you can see, but the memory you can't? Not memory as a human story, not memory as emotion, not memory as intention, but biological memory, stored in seeds, stored in soil, stored in roots, stored in chemistry, stored in structure, stored in who survived and who didn't. This is Part 5, The Memory of the Forest. And if Part 4 taught us that forests can sense danger, this chapter asks a deeper question. How does a forest carry the past into the future? Because forests do not simply react to the present. They are shaped by what came before. Old fires, old droughts, old storms, old infestations, old human decisions. And long after the visible event is over, traces remain in the soil, in species composition, in age structure, in dead wood, in nutrient patterns, in regeneration pathways. The event ends, the memory stays. To human eyes, a forest can look new after disturbance. Fresh shoots, bright green leaves, young stems rising from ash. But ecologically, that forest is not starting from zero. It is inheriting a history. Some seeds survived in the soil, some roots survived underground, some microbes persisted through heat or drought in protected zones. Some species arrived first because the disturbance created exactly the conditions they were built for. Some species failed to return because a threshold was crossed. This is not random. It is memory expressed as pattern. The forest remembers through what is now possible. That idea is one of the most important in ecology, because memory in living systems is often not stored as a record in one place. It is stored as constraints, capacities, and pathways. What can regrow? What can connect? What can establish? What can resist? What can recover quickly? What now struggles? The past is not gone. It is embedded in the system's behavior. Think about a wildfire. The flames pass. The smoke clears. The landscape looks blackened and silent, but the fire has left instructions behind. It may have opened cones in fire-adapted species. It may have released nutrients from burned organic material. It may have reduced some pathogens while exposing soil to new stresses. It may have changed light conditions for years. It may have altered which species gain the advantage next. Same event, different memories. Because every disturbance writes differently depending on severity, duration, season, prior condition, and what survives. That matters, because people often talk about resilience as if it means bouncing back to the exact same state. Forests teach something more subtle. Sometimes a system returns, sometimes it reorganizes, sometimes it transitions. The memory of the disturbance helps decide which path is possible. That is why ecologists care so much about legacy effects, feedback loops, and thresholds. A forest is not only recovering from the last event, it is recovering with the imprint of the last event. And memory is not only in plants, it's in the soil community too. Microbial communities can shift after disturbance. Fungal associations can change. Nutrient cycling can speed up, slow down, or reroute. Water infiltration can improve or degrade, depending on structure, compaction, litter, and root recovery. These changes may not look dramatic from a drone shot, but they can determine everything. Which seedlings survive the first dry season? Which roots establish? Which pathogens spread? Which nutrient bottlenecks emerge? Which recovery pathways remain open? In other words, the forest's future is often decided in places most humans never think to look. This is why surface-level observation can be so misleading. A green landscape is not always a recovered system, and a damaged landscape is not always a doomed one. The real question is deeper. What memory is the system carrying now? And then there is another layer of memory, structural memory. A forest remembers through shape, age diversity, species diversity, layering, canopy gaps, dead wood, root channels, soil horizons, patch mosaics across the landscape. All of these influence how the next shock will move through the system. A forest with mixed ages may respond differently to wind than an even-aged stand. A forest with diverse species may absorb drought stress differently than a monoculture. A landscape with patch diversity may prevent one disturbance from becoming total system collapse. This is memory turned into architecture. The system is not only storing history, it is using history to shape risk. And that may be one of the deepest patterns in nature. Memory is not just about the past, it is a tool for surviving the future. Now zoom out, because this is where the forest becomes a mirror. Human systems also carry memory. Some of it is written down. Most of it is embedded in habits, in culture, in infrastructure, in code bases, in hiring patterns, in supply contracts, in maintenance debt, in what gets funded, in what gets ignored. Companies remember outages through architecture changes. Cities remember disasters through building codes. Families remember instability through behavior. Institutions remember failure through process or repeat it when they don't. And just like forests, we often misunderstand our own memory. We think memory is what we say we learned, but systems reveal memory through what they are prepared to do under stress. When pressure hits, the real memory appears. What fails first? What adapts first? Who communicates? Who freezes? What redundancies exist? What trade-offs were hidden? That is, system memory made visible. This is why the forest's lesson is so powerful. If you want a resilient system, don't just ask, what happened last time? Ask, what did the system retain from last time? Did it preserve useful legacies? Did it rebuild the same fragility? Did it strengthen feedback loops? Did it diversify pathways? Did it improve sensing? Did it store recovery capacity, or only restore appearance? Because appearance can lie. A system can look recovered and still carry dangerous memory. A company can hit growth targets while carrying burnout memory. A city can rebuild roads while carrying flood vulnerability memory. A network can patch the breach while carrying the same trust failures. A supply chain can restart while carrying the same single-point dependency. This is why the forest is such a brutal teacher. It does not care about declarations. It reveals truth at the next disturbance. And that's the moment where memory becomes destiny. Not fixed destiny, not inevitable destiny, but probable destiny, unless the system changes. That is the opportunity. Forests do not just store memory passively. They transform it through succession, adaptation, and time. And human systems can do the same. We can redesign after failure. We can preserve useful legacies and remove harmful ones. We can convert trauma into protocol. We can turn weak points into monitored points. We can build institutions that remember intelligently, not just emotionally. That is what mature resilience looks like. Not forgetting, not repeating, not freezing in fear, remembering in a way that improves function. The forest does this constantly, quietly. Every ring, every root channel, every seed bank, every scar, every gap, every regrowth pattern. A forest is not merely alive, it is archived. So what should we learn from it? Build systems that remember well. Preserve the legacies that support recovery. Document the failures that matter. Design for the next event, not the last headline. Store memory in distributed ways: people, process, infrastructure, relationships. Train for stress, not just success. Audit what your system has learned, not just what it claims. Because memory without redesign is repetition, and redesign without memory is arrogance. The forest teaches a harder, wiser path. Carry the past forward, but translate it into better futures. If Part 3 was the recovery code, and Part 4 was the signal layer, then Part 5 is the deepest layer yet. The memory system, the hidden archive beneath resilience, the imprint beneath adaptation, the reason two forests can face the same fire and become two different futures. And once you see that, you start seeing memory everywhere, in ecosystems, in organizations, in technology, in cities, in families, in yourself. The strongest systems are not the ones with no scars, they are the ones that store scars as intelligence. If this changed how you see forests, resilience, and the future, like this video and subscribe to Hidden Nature Science TV and QeoshTV, because the next lesson from the forest may not be about how life survives, but how life decides what to remember.